Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Sophia A. Nelson.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Miss Grambling, and congratulations on your crown. I am so deeply honored to be here this morning. Good morning, Grambling. No, y'all got to do better than that. Good morning, Grambling. Good morning. All right, that's a little bit better. Happy U.S. Constitution Day. To the president of Grambling University, Rick Gallo, who is not with us here with us today, but watching, thank you for inviting me to speak on such an important day for our country. To Provost Connie Walton, distinguished faculty, the Board of Trustees, to my AKA sorority sisters, members of the Divine Nine, and last but not least, to the students at Grambling University, it is my honor to be your Constitution Day Convocation speaker. If I could just pause for a moment before I continue with my remarks. On my way over here this morning, I heard some sad news, and a daughter of Louisiana, Cokie Roberts, who is a national veteran journalist, many of us over the age of probably 40 remember her, we watched her. She passed away this morning from complications of breast cancer, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention her this morning as I'm in Louisiana. She was a friend, a mentor, a pioneer for women in journalism, and we will miss her. So our thoughts and prayers are with her family today. Let me say this at the outset. This will not be your traditional convocation address. I want to offer you some straight talk today. Our nation is in a time of deep distress. Our nation is in a time of deep division. And I want to challenge you and charge you all as you leave here today to engage in your country's elections, in presidential campaigns, and in truly participating in democracy and understanding your unalienable rights as a citizen of this great republic. As I thought about what I might impart to you today, I realized that the most urgent issue facing us all right now, as Americans living in this great union, is how do we exist together, work together, and live together in this present climate of national division, of political rancor, racial unrest, and fear of violence in our most sacred of places, church, school, home, shopping at Walmart, or watching a movie. The conclusion that I came to is this, that the only way we as a people and as a nation will make it out of this current dark place united as one America is that we, the people, will have to make a choice. We will have to choose our better angels over our darker impulses. We will have to choose love over hate. We'll have to choose liberty over tyranny. We will have to choose our founding motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. We will need to do this over the cultural and demographic divisions that seek to divide us daily. Let me frame my talk today about America's founding for you like this. On this day in 1787, the U.S. Constitution was agreed to by a majority of delegates in Congress, whereas the actual Constitution itself was ratified by Congress on June 21st, 1788. I want you to just close your eyes for a moment and think. 1787, we as black people were slaves. We were property. We were chattel. We were deemed by the Constitution as 3/5 of human beings. And that 3/5 was used to determine taxes and voting rights for those who owned us. Did you know that 11 of the first 17 United States presidents owned slaves. Fast forward, January 1865, and the same U.S. Constitution that considered us as 3/5 of a person and as slaves also freed us with the 13th Amendment, which was followed by the 14th Amendment Equal Protections Clause and the 15th Amendment voting rights after President Lincoln was assassinated. Fast forward to 2019. We have had a black president, a black first lady. We have women U.S. senators and governors. But we as black people are still woefully behind. Only 3 African Americans, 3, serve presently in the United States Senate, and only 1 is from the Deep South. Only 2 black men have been elected to governorships in this country in this century. Only 2, 1 in Virginia, Doug Wilder, and 1 in Massachusetts, Deval Patrick. Again, this is 2019. We have no black Fortune 500 CEOs. I said 0. We had 1 in Ursula Burns, and we had 1 in a gentleman that was with one of the pharmaceutical companies. We now have none. This is 2019, and we are still making first. Today, my young brothers and sisters, as we stand here, I want you to know that we are operating in a different America. Demographic shifts, don't miss this, demographic shifts are causing discomfort and fear and dis-ease, disruption even. America will be a majority-minority country in just a decade or more. We must then find a way to exist with one another, to help one another, to lift one another as we ourselves climb beyond our gender, our race, our religion, or our creed. What I care about today is leaving you with the tools to be equipped, engaged, and informed citizens of the greatest republic ever on the face of earth. But if we, as the so-called grown-ups in the room, choose the wrong path in this moment, your generation and future generations may never truly know the greatness of America. As President Lincoln once said, quoting Jesus, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." And right now, we are a divided house. In our anger and in our division, we have forgotten that America is the story of us, of all of us. It is the story of dreamers, of risk takers and explorers, of natives and farmers, of patriots and immigrants, and yes, of slaves. In my home state of Virginia, this past August, we commemorated the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the first 20 African slaves at Fort Comfort near Hampton, Virginia, in August 1619. So be clear, our ancestors built America. Our ancestors built institutions like the one we stand in today, land-grant colleges and universities. They built it under Jim Crow segregation, under harassment, under threat of lynchings, under threat of death, but they built it still. America is our story. Our ancestors began in this place as captives against their will. As the 1619 Project of the New York Times made clear, slavery is a part of America's DNA. You cannot sing the praises of the great Constitution or of American liberty without also facing the harsh and ugly reality that America's greatness was birthed on the backs of slaves. Legalized, dehumanized, dehumanizing, brutal slavery. With that history as a backdrop, I want to charge you all today to go out into the world and to live a life that reflects the idealistic, American values of unity, inclusion, respect, optimism, and hard work. Those are the values that truly make America great. not what we see now in our politics that embarrasses us and shames us as the great nation we are. We are a nation of diverse people. There is no other place on earth like America. Don't get it twisted. We have our problems, our faults, our issues, but we are always at our best when we operate as one America. Let me be clear. It is our differences that make us great. It is our diversity of race, religion, creed, and background that pushes us to expand that greatness. The reason that America has endured is because we are always in the process of perfecting the Union. And that, my young friends, is what the U.S. Constitution is all about. It is about perfecting the Union. The Constitution is a light. It's a pathway. It's like a great pioneer who plots his course but knows not his end. America is a land of possibilities and of dreamers, just like all of you. There is no limit. There is no end. We Americans are special. And I want you to know that as you look at the news and you see the rancor and you see the bitterness and the violence and the mean words, I want you to know that we're still special. We Americans never quit. We never give up on each other, although at times we may strongly disagree with one another. And students, let me say this to you because I think we've gotten this wrong. Disagreement is a good thing. Disagreement is what America was built on. Do you really think that in the 13 colonies that Virginia agreed with Massachusetts or Rhode Island with South Carolina about anything? No. They disagreed. They were different. And they respected those differences, and they came together to form one great nation. But what we see now in our time is destruction of your opponent. We see it on social media most of all. And I want you to know that that is not the best of who we are. We must learn to disagree while defending each other's right to free speech, free assembly, and the freedom to worship as we choose. Every human being who is born is born with those unalienable rights, that Thomas Jefferson spoke of in the Declaration of Independence in 1776. He said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." So, that's great, Sophia. Sounds good. But how do we make it work? How do we live together and keep perfecting our union? First, your generation, Grambling students, must choose a better way. You must choose a better way. You must decide to do better than we have done. You must demand accountability from your leaders and from yourselves. I charge you today to speak up. Speak up when you see a fellow American or other human being being demeaned, mistreated, mishandled. You must dare to choose what is right, to choose liberty, to choose to pursue that happiness that Thomas Jefferson spoke of long ago. In that spirit, I'm going to close with 5 things I'm going to leave you with. And I'm going to challenge you today to practice these nuggets of wisdom that will help you better connect with and respect your fellow citizens. Okay, so get ready to tweet, post, share. You can pull your phones out. I know you love that. And I want you to use the hashtag Constitution Day or Grambling Convocation, hashtag, all one word, and tag me at I am Sophia Nelson, okay? You ready? Number 1, be accountable. One of the great dividing lines of our time that pulls us apart is that we love to blame other people for our problems. If you listen to the words of our leaders, it's their fault, the other's fault, the immigrants' fault. It's somebody else's fault. We see these imaginary lives on social media. You're flipping through pictures and you think people have these glamorous lives. They don't. You do know, right, that Instagram's make-believe, that stuff's made up that you see, right? It's not real people's lives. So I want you to be accountable, and I'm going to give you what my grandmother used to call the 3 C's. The first C is consistency. Do what you say you're going to do. Show up. Follow through. Number 2, character. Folks, your reputation is situational. Ask different people what they think of you. You may get different answers, but your character is who you are. Be a person of character, a person of honor, a person who keeps your word. And the last C is, well, looks like I left the last C off my notes, So let me move on to the next one. Anyway, the C's are to be consistent, to be of good character, and I found it, capacity. Your capacity. Now this one's important, particularly sisters, I want to talk to you for a moment. Capacity. There are limits. There are boundaries. You do know that no is a complete sentence, right? Stop doing so much. Stop taking on so much. Stop lugging so much. Stop trying to fix everybody else without taking care of you. Black women, capacity. Know when you've had enough. Know your limitations. I apologize for that mishap, but I cleaned it up. It's all good. Number two. All right, this one's important. One of the other things that divides us as human beings and as people in this nation is we don't know how to admit when we're wrong. So this next one is apologize quickly and forgive even quicker. We all need it. Listen to me. Apology is the super glue of life. Have you ever noticed when something's about to pop off and you just say, you know what, I'm sorry. I got that, my bad. It stops. It ends. Sometimes you have to be humble enough to say sorry even when you're not the one who's wrong. Be a person who keeps the peace. Be a person who knows how to forgive quickly. Because let me tell you what, if you don't forgive, the only person who suffers is you. Because most of the people you're mad at don't know it and the rest don't care. Number 3, have courageous conversations. Now, I had the chance yesterday to teach Dr. President Gallo's class, as a leadership class, and we talked about emotional intelligence and what that means and how to put it into practice. Well, this one right here is big. Let me talk to you, Grambling students, because you need to hear this. Let me tell you in case somebody didn't tell you. Texting is not talking. Texting is not talking. Your generation, and that would be our fault, does not know how to have courageous conversations. You don't know how to connect without devices. And I'm telling you, it's going to be the problem of your generation. You're going to have to learn to deal with people. You're going to have to learn to talk your problems out face to face, to have empathy and compassion and grace because you need it. Texting is not talking. Talking is what I'm doing now and you're listening and or talking back to me. So remember to have courageous conversations. Number 4, and this is one of my favorites because my grandmother, who had a 6th grade education and was from South Carolina, used to say to me, baby, never cut what you can untie. Never cut what you can untie. What does she mean? Well, again, your generation is the cancel culture. You will cut people off, unfriend them, block them, delete them, ghost them, and you're done. That's not going to work for you long term. That's not going to heal what ails this nation. Those 50 stars on that flag, those stars are united. And if we don't learn to start talking to one another and start giving each other some grace, and we don't start to learn that sometimes you just got to step back and untie. You don't cut everything. You don't cut everything off. You need to learn that there are seasons in your life. Some of you sisters, again, I'm coming for you. Stop cutting your girls off because you got mad. Stop cutting people off because they told you the truth about yourself. You want people that tell you the truth about yourself. That's the problem with this country right now. We don't like the truth about ourselves and how we started and where we are. You got to learn, as my regional director used to say, and Alpha Kappa Alphas used to say, yes, people will lead you to the water and they'll let you drown. You better get some good people in your life who are truth tellers in your life. And finally, number 5. This is another one from my grandmother. I love that woman. I miss her every day. She used to say also, you better know your front row. Know your front row? What are you talking about, Grandma? Now, when I was a little girl, I didn't understand, but what she simply meant was this. You better have good people in your life who are real, authentic, people who got your back. Know your row, know your circle. Leadership Principle 101, this is a fact, you can check it. They say that the 5 people, Grambling, that you hang around with in your life, 5, not only impact your life, but they determine your life. Who you hang around, who encourages you or who pulls you down the wrong path or who tells you, let's go get into that when you know you shouldn't. Those people can change your destiny for better or for worse. I'm going to tell you a story that illustrates this point well. And I know that because I'm here at Grambling, I can talk about the Bible. So there's a great story in Mark chapter 2. And it's a story of some friends. And it's a story of 4 friends, and one of the friends was born paralyzed. He's been on a mat his whole entire life. He's paralyzed. He can't walk. So his friends, that we can presume from reading the scriptures, his friends must have known him their entire life. So these were ride or die friends. Well, at some point, these friends got the memo that this guy named Jesus was going to be in town. And they got the memo that Jesus was performing miracles, and he was healing people, and he was helping people. And his friends talked among themselves, and they said, well, you know what? Let's take him to go see this Jesus. So don't miss this. His friends picked up his mat, and they carried him over to Peter's house. Now, you know Peter's always got a good party going on at his house. So you go to Peter's house, and when they get there, they see the line is real long, and they cannot get in the door. Now, some of your friends and some of my friends would have laid the mat down and said, look, I tried to get you in, but I couldn't get you in, and so we're going home now. But that's not what these friends did. The Bible records that these friends picked up his mat, they walked up a hill, and they cut a hole through the roof and lowered him down to get healed. Now, what's the moral of this story? The moral of the story, Grambling, is you better get you some Mark chapter 2 friends. You better get you some friends that'll pick up your mat, walk you up a hill, and cut a hole through a roof for you if you need healing or you need help or you need encouragement. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of my discussion today. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you, Grambling.